Hey guys, tonight we dive into a story that sounds like the worst way to meet trouble. And believe me, you probably won't survive this one. Imagine this. You're just out there, doing your thing, when suddenly you accidentally kill John Wick's dog. Yes, that John Wick, the guy who's basically a one-man army with a grudge. So buckle up because you're about to learn how to survive the fallout from the worst mistake ever. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop your location and local time in the comments. Let's see where in the world you're surviving from tonight. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You didn't mean to do it. Really, you didn't. It was supposed to be a quick walk to the mailbox or a casual jog through the park, but somehow you ended up in John Wick's backyard. And not just any backyard, but one with a very fluffy, very sweet dog who clearly didn't want to meet you. Maybe it was the way you startled it, or maybe you tripped on something. Historians still argue whether it was your shoelace or a stray squirrel. But next thing you know, the poor pup is lying still. Yeah, you messed up. Now, John Wick's dog isn't just any dog. It's the kind of dog that makes legends nervous. You know how people say, "Don't poke the bear"? Well, killing this dog is like poking a bear with a chainsaw. You can almost hear the movie soundtrack building to a crazy chase scene. And spoiler alert, you're the main target. So what do? First, you ditch your phone. No GPS, no calling for help. You're on your own. You try to think like Wick, move like Wick, even breathe like Wick. Maybe if you mimic his habits, he'll confuse you for one of his own. But historians still argue whether that's just wishful thinking or a legit survival tactic. You find an abandoned subway station, dark, damp, and perfect for hiding. You duck behind a rusty train car and catch your breath. Your heart's pounding like a drum solo at a rock concert. You take inventory. No weapons, no allies, and definitely no backup plans. You remember an old trick you read once in some survival guide. Blend in with the shadows, move slow, and never look back. Easier said than done when every noise sounds like footsteps and every shadow looks like John Wick. You stumble into a street food cart. The smell of grilled meat is oddly comforting. You grab a hot dog, ironically, and try to pretend you belong here, like you're just another late-night snack seeker. The vendor gives you a weird look, but you flash a nervous smile. It's not a great disguise, but it's something. Night drags on. You realize that surviving John Wick isn't just about running or hiding. It's about outthinking the guy who once took down an entire room full of bad guys with a pencil. Speaking of which, that pencil, yeah, it's basically a deadly weapon in Wick's hands. But that's for later. For now, your main goal is simple: stay alive. You avoid open streets, cross alleys, duck into crowds, and keep your head down. Your legs feel like jelly, but adrenaline keeps you moving. You start noticing things you never did before. The way streetlights flicker, the smell of rain on concrete, the distant sound of sirens that feel more like alarms warning you. One time you try hiding in a laundromat. You stuff your face into a basket of clothes, hoping Wick won't check there. Sweat drips down your forehead. You hear voices outside, quiet but urgent. You hold your breath, praying. Eventually you slip out the back and keep moving. You find a small park and crouch behind a bench. You pull out a pen you found earlier and hold it like a weapon. It feels ridiculous, but hey, everyone knows a pen is mightier than the sword, right? Historians still argue whether that's true when the sword belongs to a guy like Wick. You realize this might be the longest night of your life, but you also know one thing for sure. You messed with the wrong dog, and the owner is coming. Your survival chances? Slim. But hey, you're still here, right? For now, you're still alive. Somehow, against every odd. You're still moving through the night with John Wick hot on your trail. Your legs are burning, lungs begging for air. But you keep pushing forward, weaving through dark alleyways and dodging the usual city chaos. Barking dogs, late-night cars, and distant sirens slicing through the silence like knives. Every shadow seems to stretch just a little longer, every creak and whisper making your heart jump. You're playing a deadly game of hide and seek, except this time the seeker is a legend, a man who's earned the nickname Baba Yaga for a reason. You duck behind a dumpster trying not to make a sound, breathing so shallow you're afraid you might pass out. The cold metal presses against your cheek as you listen. Footsteps. Not just any footsteps. These are deliberate, confident, and closing in fast. You know that each step could be the last you hear before it all ends. But then, something strange happens. A stumble, a pause. The footsteps falter. You squint toward the sound, curious but terrified. There, just a few yards ahead, is John Wick, lying flat on his back on the cracked sidewalk. His usually fierce eyes are closed, his body oddly still. You blink, certain you must be dreaming or hallucinating from exhaustion. And then you spot it. A small, sharp pencil, the kind you'd never expect to be lethal, except in John Wick's hands, where even everyday objects become deadly weapons. This pencil is jammed beneath him at a ridiculous angle, the point sticking into the ground. Somehow John Wick has fallen asleep on his own pencil. Yes, slept. Like a nap in the middle of a battlefield. It's the strangest sight. The invincible assassin, the man who once took out an entire room with nothing but a pencil, has been undone by that very same tool. Historians still argue whether this was sheer bad luck or some cosmic joke. But either way, it's an ironic twist so bizarre, you can't help but stare in disbelief. You inch closer, heart pounding wildly, but curiosity winning over fear. John Wick's chest rises and falls faintly, but it's clear something's wrong. The pencil, small, unassuming, has done more damage than any bullet ever could. His usually stoic face is slack, a look of surprise frozen forever. You're watching the end of a legend, not in a blaze of glory, but in a ridiculous accident that feels almost like a prank from the universe. A weird kind of relief washes over you, but it's tangled with a shock so deep you almost can't breathe. You laugh nervously. What else can you do? The man known for his unstoppable rage and precision has been taken down by his own pencil. It's absurd, almost too strange to be real. You take a deep breath, the tension in your body starting to ease for the first time in hours. The streets are quiet now, the chase over in the most unexpected way possible. The city feels less like a cage and more like a place where anything, even the wildest, most impossible endings, can happen. Your legs are shaking, your mind swirling with disbelief. But you know this night has changed you. You survived the impossible not because you were clever or fast, but because fate threw in a curveball no one saw coming. As you walk away, you glance back one last time. John Wick's body lies still under the dim streetlight, the pencil sticking out like a twisted monument to one of the strangest battles ever fought. You smile wryly to yourself. Sometimes the biggest threats fall the hardest in the dumbest. Now, your survival isn't about outrunning or outsmarting a legend. It's about holding on to the odd luck that got you through and maybe, just maybe, learning that sometimes the wildest stories have the strangest endings. You breathe in the cool night air, the tension slowly fading, replaced by a calm you didn't think possible just hours ago. The city hums softly around you, the danger gone but the memory lingering like the fading echo of a crazy dream. You realize that this is your second chance, one that you didn't earn, but one you're definitely going to hold on to. The pencil, the dog, the chase, it all feels like a bizarre chapter in your life story that you'll never forget. And maybe next time, you'll think twice before stepping into a backyard that's way out of your league.